In early 2013, a 21-year-old Canadian student named Elisa Lam checked into the Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles, a place already infamous for its dark history. A few days later, she vanished. Then came the surveillance footage. Released by police, it shows Elisa inside an elevator behaving oddly and erratically, pressing multiple buttons, stepping in and out, hiding in a corner, and making strange hand gestures as if interacting with someone who isn't there. The video quickly went viral, sparking global obsession. What happened to her? Was she afraid, delusional, being followed? Weeks later, her body was discovered inside a sealed rooftop water tank under circumstances that remain as puzzling as they are tragic. No one saw how she got there. There was no obvious sign of trauma, no alarm triggered, and her phone was never found. This case became a modern mystery, tangled in internet theories, true crime fascination, and speculation ranging from mental health to the paranormal. In this video, we explore the timeline, the facts, and the lingering questions behind the bizarre and haunting death of Elisa Lam. Elisa Lam was a 21-year-old university student from Vancouver, Canada, traveling alone through California in early 2013. She documented her journey on Tumblr, sharing reflections, photos, and her personal struggles with bipolar disorder and depression, both of which she managed with prescription medications. Her last stop was Los Angeles, where she checked into the Cecil Hotel on January 28th. What Elisa might not have known is that the Cecil is no ordinary hotel. Built in the 1920s, the Cecil Hotel has long been associated with violence, tragedy, and infamy. It was the scene of numerous suicides, murders, and was even home to serial killers like Richard Ramirez, aka the Night Stalker, in the 1980s. Over the years, it earned a reputation as cursed, or at the very least, deeply haunted, a decaying relic at the edge of LA's Skid Row. For budget travelers like Elisa, the Cecil's low price made it appealing. She was originally booked in a shared room, but after roommates complained about her odd behavior, including leaving strange notes like, "Go away," the hotel moved her to a private room. By that point, her behavior was already raising concern. No one could have imagined how the next few days would unfold, or that Elisa Lam's name would soon become inseparable from one of the most enduring mysteries in true crime history. Elisa Lam checked into the Cecil Hotel on January 28, 2013. At first, she stayed in a shared hostel-style room, but after a few nights, she was moved to a private room due to complaints from her roommates. According to reports, Elisa had been leaving bizarre notes like, "Go away" or "Go home" around the room, unsettling those she was sharing with. These signs hinted that something was off, though no one could have predicted what would come next. She kept in regular contact with her parents during her travels, calling them daily. But on January 31st, that contact stopped. Elisa was last seen that day, and that's when the now famous elevator surveillance footage was captured. In the video, Elisa steps into the elevator, presses several buttons, then appears increasingly erratic, peeking out into the hallway, quickly stepping back in, hiding in a corner, and making strange hand gestures. Many viewers felt like she was either interacting with someone unseen or trying to escape from something. Hotel staff reported seeing her alone that same day, but after she missed her daily call home, her parents grew worried and contacted the LAPD. On February 1st, she was officially reported missing. Police arrived and conducted a search of the hotel. They brought K9 units and even searched some areas of the roof, but found nothing. Her room showed no signs of struggle. Her belongings, including medication and clothing, were left behind. Days turned into weeks. Flyers were posted. Online forums began speculating. The elevator footage, released on February 14th, exploded across the internet, drawing millions of viewers and triggering a flood of amateur investigations. But still, no one knew where Elisa was until something unusual happened on February 19th. On the morning of February 19th, 2013, nearly 3 weeks after Elisa Lam disappeared, guests at the Cecil Hotel began complaining about low water pressure, strange tastes, and even discolored water coming from the taps. A hotel maintenance worker, Santiago Lopez, was sent to check the rooftop water tanks. What he found was shocking. Inside one of the 4 sealed tanks, floating naked in the water, was the body of Elisa Lam. Her clothes and personal belongings, including her watch and hotel keycard, were also found inside the tank. The discovery raised immediate, unsettling questions. How did she get up there? How did no one notice? And why hadn't she been found sooner? The rooftop was supposedly off-limits, with alarm-locked doors leading to it. Yet Elisa somehow got up there undetected. One theory suggests she may have used the exterior fire escape to access the roof, a route that would bypass the alarm but requires climbing. Then there's the tank itself. Each one is about 8 to 10 feet tall, sits elevated on a platform, and requires climbing a ladder to access. The metal hatch lids are heavy but not impossible to open. Some reports suggest the hatch was open when her body was found, others say it was closed, a detail that remains unclear and heavily debated. There were no security cameras on the roof, and most disturbingly, Elisa's cell phone was never recovered. Her body was removed and the hotel water system was drained and sanitized. The tragedy sent shockwaves through the online community, where interest in the case had already gone viral. But as more details emerged, the mystery only deepened. The Los Angeles County Coroner's Office released its official report on June 20th, 2013, 4 months after Elisa's body was found. The conclusion: accidental drowning, with her bipolar disorder listed as a significant condition. But, like much of this case, the autopsy left many unsettled. First, there were no signs of trauma on Elisa's body. No bruises, scratches, or indication of sexual assault. There was also no evidence of physical restraint. She had no significant injuries that would suggest a struggle, fall, or external violence. Her toxicology results were inconclusive. While traces of her prescribed medications, such as Wellbutrin, lamotrigine, and quetiapine, were found, the levels were lower than expected, suggesting that she may not have been taking her full dosage in the days leading up to her death. That's a critical detail. For someone with bipolar disorder, going off medication, especially abruptly, can trigger psychosis, hallucinations, or disorganized thinking. Importantly, no recreational drugs or alcohol were found in her system, aside from a minimal amount of alcohol. But the report also noted limitations. Elisa's body had been in water for over 2 weeks, so decomposition may have compromised the quality of the samples. Critics of the report pointed to its ambiguity. Some noted inconsistencies in the toxicology report and questioned how thorough the testing really was. Others focused on the coroner's conclusion of accidental. Was it based on evidence or simply a lack of better answers? In the absence of physical trauma, the most plausible theory emerged. Elisa suffered a mental health crisis, accessed the rooftop alone, and, possibly under delusion or fear, entered the tank herself, believing it was a safe place, or simply unaware of the danger. But to many, that explanation still felt incomplete. Too many details remained unanswered, and the strange behavior caught on tape still haunted viewers. Despite the autopsy ruling Elisa Lam's death as an accident, many details in the case felt too strange to accept at face value. The more people looked, the more inconsistencies and unanswered questions emerged, fueling an internet firestorm of theories. The most iconic piece of evidence remains the elevator video. Viewers noticed Elisa's erratic behavior, stepping in and out of the elevator repeatedly, pressing multiple buttons in a seemingly random pattern. Her strange hand movements, almost as if she were interacting with an invisible presence. The elevator door staying open abnormally long. Some suspected mechanical interference, while others wondered if someone outside was holding it. Then there's the matter of how she reached the rooftop. The hotel claimed access to the roof was restricted via locked, alarmed doors. Yet, Elisa ended up in one of the rooftop tanks without tripping any alarms. Theories suggest she may have climbed the fire escape on the side of the building, but that path would have required determination, physical effort, and most importantly, a clear intent. Now consider the tank itself. It's elevated with a heavy metal lid. Some say Elisa couldn't have climbed in alone or lifted the hatch once inside. However, photos and reconstructions later suggested that the lid could have been left open or closed afterward by gravity or water pressure. Still, others questioned why the LAPD's initial search, which included dogs and even parts of the roof, didn't find her earlier. Was she not in the tank yet at that time, or was she missed? Perhaps the most chilling detail, her phone was never found. It had all her photos, messages, and travel records. Was it stolen, lost, or removed intentionally? Then there were the internet oddities. Some online sleuths noted a strange coincidence. Around the same time Elisa went missing, there was a tuberculosis outbreak on Skid Row, and the diagnostic test used was named Lam Elisa. While almost certainly a coincidence, it added a layer of eerie synchronicity to the case. And of course, the location itself, the Cecil Hotel, had its own dark history. Its legacy of death, violence, and supposed hauntings made it easy for paranormal explanations to take root. Even the elevator footage raised suspicion. The timestamp is partially obscured. Some analysts believe frames were removed, possibly to hide the presence of another person. Was it edited? And if so, why? The result, what should have been a closed case, became instead a puzzle with missing pieces. And in that vacuum, countless theories began to thrive. With no definitive answers, the case of Elisa Lam has become a breeding ground for theories, some grounded in psychology, others in darker speculation. Here are the 4 dominant explanations that continue to divide the public. Accidental drowning due to mental breakdown. The most widely accepted and official theory is that Elisa had a psychotic episode related to her bipolar disorder. Her low levels of prescription medication suggest she wasn't fully medicated, which, for someone with bipolar disorder, can lead to hallucinations, paranoia, or disorganized behavior. Her behavior in the elevator footage, hiding, gesturing, talking to unseen figures, aligns with known symptoms of a manic or psychotic state. It's possible she fled upward in confusion or fear, accessed the rooftop via fire escape, and climbed into the tank either thinking it was a safe hiding spot or as an impulsive act of self-harm. Once inside, she likely couldn't get out. The tank was deep, the walls smooth, and there were no internal footholds. This theory fits with the autopsy, which found no signs of trauma or struggle, and places the focus on mental health as the tragic core of the case. Criminal foul play. Others believe Elisa was the victim of foul play. The missing phone, possible editing of the elevator footage, and unanswered questions about how she got on the roof have led some to suspect someone else was involved. Could a hotel employee, with access to secure areas, have followed her, harmed her, or placed her in the tank. Yet, there's no direct evidence, no witnesses, no security footage of another person, and no signs of assault or restraint on her body. While this theory can't be fully ruled out, it lacks the hard proof needed to support it, leaving it in the realm of speculation. Paranormal forces. Given the Cecil Hotel's dark history, from suicides to serial killers, many online viewers proposed a paranormal explanation. Some believe Elisa was influenced, possessed, or even chased by a supernatural force, which explains her behavior in the elevator. The eerie nature of the footage and the building's infamous reputation only fuel this belief. But as compelling as the vibes may be, there's no physical evidence supporting a paranormal cause. This theory thrives on atmosphere, not fact, and often reflects our cultural fascination with haunted places and ghost stories, cover-up, or institutional negligence. This theory suggests the hotel, or authorities, covered up something. The altered timestamp in the elevator video, the delay in releasing key information, the questionable roof security, the possibility that someone could have used a staff key or known how to avoid alarms. Some suspect the hotel may have tried to avoid liability, either due to negligence in allowing rooftop access or due to an unreported internal incident. Netflix's 2021 documentary explores this angle, but ultimately leans toward accidental death, not conspiracy. Still, the theory raises important questions. Even if no one harmed Elisa, was someone responsible for letting it happen? Each of these theories has its supporters, and none have been proven definitively. That's what makes Elisa Lam's story so enduring. It exists in the space between explanation and enigma, tragedy and speculation. Elisa Lam's death is, at its core, a tragedy. A young woman, traveling alone, struggling with mental illness, vanished in one of the most notorious hotels in America, only to be found weeks later in a place that defied logic. The official ruling says accidental drowning, likely triggered by a psychotic episode. But for many, that answer doesn't feel complete. There's no solid evidence of foul play, no signs of a second person. But there are inconsistencies, unanswered questions, and a sense of wrongness that refuses to fade. Was it a mental health crisis overlooked until it became fatal? Was it negligence on the hotel's part, poor security, missing surveillance, and unlocked dangers? Or was there something, or someone, we never saw? Ultimately, this case lives in the space between fact and feeling, between what we know and what we can't stop wondering. And maybe that's why it endures, not because we want it to, but because deep down we know some mysteries are not meant to be solved, only understood with compassion. So we'll end with a question. Do you believe Elisa's death was the result of a mental health tragedy? Or do you think something more sinister happened on that rooftop? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And as always, thank you for watching. And for remembering Elisa Lam not just as a case, but as a person.